When it comes to racing games, most of the well-known and most successful games come from the big publishers or studios. The same goes for virtual racing. If you're heading out for the big, famous and licensed titles, a lot of them come from the studio's Codemasters or Milestone, for example. But now another competitor, Motorsport Games, drafts closer. To find out who that is, and why of all things a small indie kart game might be the forerunner of something really big, stay tuned. Also, don't forget to leave a like, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of these kind of videos in the future. First, a little update for those who haven't heard about Motorsport Games before. It's a global acting publisher specialising in racing action. With its HQ based in Miami, the home of neon lights and tuned cars, you might be willing to acknowledge their claim. Motorsport Games innovates with games, esports and community services designed to drive forward-thinking, more engaging and exciting experiences for racing gamers, competitors and viewers across the world. Welcome to the future of racing entertainment. You might already know Motorsport Games as the publisher of the Nascar Heat series. Furthermore, the company regularly arranges the Nascar Heat Pro League. But that's not the only esports ecosystem Motorsport Games is involved in. It's also the driving force behind the RX World Rallycross Championship on Dirt Rally 2.0, the Le Mans Esports Series staged on Forza Motorsport, and the big 24 Hours of Le Mans virtual event in 2020, which was held on rFactor 2. And that's just to name a few. Over the past year, Motorsport Games has gone to great lengths to solidify its standing in gaming development. And here's where it gets interesting. Let me explain why we might have something really exciting in the making. In July 2020, they signed a long-term agreement with the British Touring Car Championship, the BTCC, to create an original video game plus an official esports competition. Although not too much is currently known about the project, it's said to be being released in 2022. On the 3rd of March, Motorsport Games acquired Studio 397, the developers of rFactor 2, and that's a really big deal. Motorsport Games can now make use of the series' ingenious force feedback, which is highly praised by almost everyone in the scene. This unmatched know-how that can now potentially be implemented in every other motorsports games racer is truly a spectacular signing. If you want to dive deeper into the topic of force feedback, have a look at our video where we asked you which game has the best FFB of them all. But back to Motorsport Games. 2 weeks later, the publisher maximised its shares in 704 Games, the developers of the Nascar Heat series. With Motorsport Games now being in full control of the Nascar Heat brand, they might also push that series even more into esports. And that's not all. Another very interesting deal happened on the 22nd of March. Motorsport Games announced their acquisition of all assets, rights and code to the game KartKraft, as well as key members of the studio Black Delta, who will finish the game under their new name, Motorsport Games Melbourne. KartKraft is a small indie karting game which has been under development since 2015 and in early access on Steam since 2018. Despite being a low-budget project, the game has tremendously well-performing physics and astonishingly detailed graphics powered by the Unreal Engine. In addition to this, there's native VR support from scratch and laser scan tracks. The addition of these games and franchises to the Motorsport Games portfolio makes many exciting scenarios possible. Firstly, Motorsport Games could integrate KartKraft into its esports ecosystem and create a niche competition that separates them from everything on the radar so far. An online service inspired by iRacing is already in beta, and its full release is eagerly awaited by fans. Beyond that, the developers added to the pool have proven to be skillful with the Unreal Engine. All the other games like Nascar Heat and even rFactor 2 can benefit from that, combined with formerly unknown financial support. A lot of good things come together here, which could result in KartKraft becoming the best game it can be, and maybe a brand new rFactor title. rFactor 2 is acknowledged for its fantastic force feedback and physics, Motorsport Games can now combine this with the proper Unreal Engine graphics and all the license power Motorsport Games are gathering. They must have something huge in the making. What do you think? Is something big on the horizon? What possible releases are you looking forward to? Let us know in the comments. Maybe it's a BTCC title as a spiritual successor to Toka with R-Factor 2 physics. We're certainly up for that. For more esports racing content in general, visit overtake.gg or our YouTube and other social channels. Thanks for having me, and until next time, cheers.